Man City have gone ahead to obviously try to get back to winning ways because they had drew with Arsenal 0-0 on Sunday and they had to play against Aston Villa, the fourth place side in the Premier League. Most people thought that it wouldn't go in favor of Man City. All else, Aston Villa could come in through and really force what we call a draw and see to it that Man City went ahead to lose points. But Man City came up with a very, 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 very huge command into this game of football, especially the Arsenal fans all over the world. They felt like something could go the way of Aston Villa to see to it that everything really goes on as not to plan by Man City, because Man City's plan was simple: get into this game of football and really win it, and then we prepare for their other game over the weekend. But Arsenal fans were like, we wish Man City could draw points. And there was a little bit of hope, and that glimmer of hope ended in the 45th minute when Phil Foden went ahead to obviously score a second goal, because Rodri scored the first goal in the 11th minute. Very good cutback cross coming in through from Jeremy Doku when he was playing on the right. And then Rodri did justice to that ball and really hit in the back of the net. And Rodri has gone ahead to obviously break his record, by the way, in the Premier League. And he has never gone ahead to score 7 goals in a single. He has never gone ahead to score 7 goals in a single Premier League season. That is Rodri for you. So right now, Rodri has gone ahead to obviously see himself scoring those number of goals this season. And by the way, the stadiums in the Premier League are really taking center stage when it comes to scoring goals. When you look at Declan Rice, he has 6. Casemiro is also having some good number. Then also the man himself called Rodri is into the mix, and we've been told by Opta Joe that Rodri has scored 8 goals for Manchester United across all competitions this season, his most in a single campaign in his club career evolution. So he had never even scored 8, but all I know is that he's now having 7 goals in the Premier League. They've been tied with Declan Rice at 6, but he's now having 7. That is Rodri for you, and that's the beauty that Rodri gets you. Sometimes you really need these goals to be coming in through to do the needful. Then Aston Villa's Duran, who is 20 years and 112 years, leveled in the 19th minute, and he became the youngest visiting player to score away to Man City in the Premier League since Marcus Rashford in March 2016 when he was 18 and 140. He was 18 years in there for you. So this Duran guy is really doing great and scored a very brilliant goal, but Man City went ahead to see to it that Phil Foden went ahead to score a very brilliant free kick. If at all you really watch that game of football, then in the second half he came back and really scored 2 more goals, taking his tally to 13. Now, as it stands, Phil Foden is really having very many goals in the Premier League, and he has never gone ahead to score these number of goals in the Premier League in a single season, if at all I'm not mistaken. He has always gone ahead to try to really push and punch above his weight, but he's finally here to really take the team of Man City to the levels. 23 years of age, 28th May, he's making 24 years of age, and he's really sending a message to everyone who doubts him. And right now, he has 14 Premier League goals. That is Phil Foden for you. He's left with just 6 to hit 20. His highest scoring Premier League season was last season, where he scored 11 goals. But because he has gone ahead to obviously be given very many games at Man City, and trust me, he hasn't missed out on any City game. 30 games played, 14 goals and 7 assists, 21 goal contributions, and that's going to take his tally to 20 in a season. When you add on the 4 goals, he's going to hit to score in the Champions League. Those are 18. Then 1 goal in the Club World Cup. Those are 19. And I think in the FA Cup, he has also gone ahead to score some goals for Man City, taking his tally to 20. That is really Phil Foden for you. And I know he's going to hit 20 goals this season. And it shows you how good he's really looking as a player. And he came in through and he put up a shift into this beautiful game of football. But before I really take you in what Phil Foden has gone ahead to say into this game of football, allow me take you through the stats of this game of football and really understand how everything really went ahead to go on at the stadium of Etihad down in Manchester. Now, the stats were as follows. 25 shots by Man City, very, very many. Remember, when Man City was playing Arsenal, they had like 12 and one was on target. So it shows you how Arsenal defended better and really defended from Man City to obviously and prevented Man City from obviously coming close. 8 shots by Aston Villa, 11 shots on target by Man City, 3 shots on target by Aston Villa, 68% ball possession by Man City, 32% ball possession by Aston Villa, 699 passes completed by Man City, 330 passes completed by Aston Villa, 92% passing accuracy by Man City, 86% passing accuracy by Aston Villa, 6 fouls by Man City and 13 fouls by Aston Villa, 1 yellow card to Man City, 2 yellow cards to Aston Villa, 0 red cards to Man City and 0 red cards issued to Aston Villa. Then 1 offside to Man City and 1 offside to Aston Villa. 2 corners to Man City and 3 corners to the side of Aston Villa, and that really goes ahead to really put in a very huge shape for the side of Man City. They've gone ahead to win another beautiful game of football, and they're up there in the skies, and they're really doing the needful. Now, as it stands, Arsenal have gone ahead to slip over on top of the Premier League table, as you see them there. 30 games played, 68 points, and Man City has gone ahead to play 30. Tied on points with Liverpool, 67. But Liverpool is playing today and they're hosting Sheffield. A game that you believe they're going to go out and really win ultimately. And unless otherwise a shocker comes in through. But I don't see Sheffield go ahead to prevent the side of Liverpool from really clinching their top stop again. And I know Arsenal has a very good go over the weekend when they're playing against Brighton. If they win against Brighton, they once go ahead of the side of They once go ahead over the side of Man City. Sorry, they once go ahead over the side of Liverpool against Sheffield. And on Sunday, they're going to be playing Manchester United. I tell you, I don't see Liverpool getting 3 points at Old Trafford. I tell you this. Liverpool is not getting 3 points at Old Trafford. And this is where Arsenal are going to capitalize onto this to obviously get or back on top of the table. I told you, if Arsenal can win their remaining games, they can really win the trophy, because Liverpool has a very huge journey to obviously coming through to face that is Man United, and it's gonna be really a huge one for them to obviously surpass. So when you look at the side of Man City is gonna be playing Crystal Palace over the weekend, not so? So we wait and see how that pans out. But Liverpool is really having a very good stretch of games and really trying to get themselves into the winning ways. So Pep Guardiola is a happy man, but let's try to see what Phil Foden is going to have to say after his brilliant display tonight, as he went ahead to really score a hat-trick. He was going ahead to score a hat-trick today, and that is really great. Did he even score one when they're playing against Brentford? If I'm not mistaken, let me check here. Brentford versus Man City. I remember he went ahead to score a hat-trick. Was it a hat-trick or a brace? Let me be realistic here. Let me try to obviously search via Google and see what was the score of this young man, because this young man is really on fire, and the Euros are underway, and he's really trying to put in a shift that everyone is really wanting not to ignore. He's really talented, and you feel good when you see a talented player like him going ahead to put in the shift. Now, the game I'm talking about ended 3-1. It was played on the 5th of February, I think, at the Gitek Community Stadium in London, and it saw this guy known as Phil Foden come up and really score goals against the side of Brentford. And I'm trying to see how many goals he scored, because I want to be on record. I don't want to come here and really give you false information. All right, he scored a hat-trick this season. This is his second hat-trick of the season. In the 45th plus 3rd minute, first goal. 53rd minute, second goal, and the 70th minute, he scored the 3rd goal. That was the hat-trick that he scored first in the season, and is going to hit obviously register another huge hat-trick for his career. Today, I said, I'm just loving my football at the moment. I'm just playing with a smile on my face, and I'm trying to help the team because I know I'm capable of scoring goals. I did that, so I'm delighted. I just set myself the target of better than last season, just get more goals, more contributions. I'm up this year, so I'm doing well. I seem to have some really technical play in the pockets and out wide. I can do that job, but I prefer in the middle. This year I'm growing into the game. The manager spoke on showing rhythm and slowing the game down. I've added that to my game. He said before, you will grow into that position, because before I was going so quick, attacking every action, so I'm getting the balance just right. So he's giving all the praise to the manager. That is Pep Guardiola. And if you talk about a manager who knows how to improve players, he gets the first spot. We're going to hate to see it that very many players are going to hate to come in and City. He's going to hate to turn them out into world-class players. Phil Foden for a first season in a row, 14 goals, and it looks like everything is rotating around him. People can say Rodri is the GOAT at Man City, but right now I tell you, Phil Foden is the biggest happening of Man City this season. He's the best informed player, and if he goes scoring like this, he might even surpass Erling Haaland, because Erling Haaland never even went ahead to play a minute today in this game. I don't know why the manager went ahead to bench him. Is it because he's really having a knuckle is resting him? But Phil Foden is really scoring for fun, and everywhere this guy is, he believes that he needs to come back and really put in a second gear, because he has gone ahead to score only 18 goals in 24 games. So that is Erling Haaland for you, missing out on very many opportunities. So they are both 23 years of age, and they are making 24 this year. But it looks like Phil Foden has gone ahead to put an extra gear to obviously surpass and really do the needful to get everything going. Then he has also added and said, I'm always trying to arrive in the box. That's where the goals are at. You get at least 5 a season by arriving into the boxlet. So I've been working on all aspects of my game in the midfield. Still a lot of improvement. Still a lot to improve on, but I'm enjoying that position. I don't actually take free kicks. I don't know why I took that one. Julian was like on it. I just felt confident at the time, saying, Julio, do you mind giving me this one? And to be fair to him, he gave it to me. It paid off in the end. It's funny, you said that when I was running off celebrating the third goal, I was with Jack Grealish. He said, when we goal, that's what it reminded me of. So, the most impactful of this is how a player feels himself that he's ready to go to the next level. You know, sometimes when you're ready to go to the next level, there are certain things that just make themselves. Like how you see this guy coming in through to put up the shift and really telling him that, please, can I take the free kick? He felt like the inside of him, his consciousness was like, it's your moment, take it. And what's the importance of that goal that he scores? It helps Man City to go to half time when they are a goal up. It would have gone ahead to be a different game altogether when Man City came on through, when they are really level with Aston Villa. Aston Villa would have gone ahead to come up with maybe a different plan altogether, sit back, invert the pressure, and hit them with the break like they did on the first goal that they considered through Duran. So it was very important goal, and then he came up and really scored another one and a third one. So it shows you how important this guy is and how he has gone ahead to master the art on really scoring goals outside the teenage box area. Against Man United, you saw this equalizer that he really hit outside the teenage box area. It was really hit with surgical precision, and Andrew Onana couldn't obviously do the needful. I've gone ahead to see people blaming the goalkeeper. I would have gone ahead to do better, but people think that they have to discredit this guy, discredit a person who doesn't take these free kicks regularly on a regular basis. He comes in through and feels like I should take one. He goes ahead to obviously do it. There is something special on him that is telling him, please go ahead and do that. It's going to really count out and really pay out results. So for my case, I really understand that Phil Foden has gone ahead to put in a shift that is really undoubted. And today, he has been unreal, and all has gone ahead to go to him. And trust me, he is really the man at the side of Man City that is really making some huge rounds all over the media platforms. And he continues to obviously threaten the position of Bukayo Saka at the national team on whether they're gonna start Phil Foden or Bukayo Saka. The man is in flying form. Lastly, he said lost forwards on this guy. He said Rodri can do everything. He's adding goals to his game. He can do it all, dribble. I don't see a weakness in his game. He's our most important player. When he doesn't play, it's a big difference. We don't really look too far ahead. We just look on the next game. If we are in and around it with 10 games to go, we know it's possible. We are there now, so we need to keep believing, and that's what the manager believed today. Fight to the end. So, when they're playing against Arsenal, they never fought to the end. That is it, because they knew to eat that. They could obviously open up, and Arsenal could obviously use that chance to really do what we call the checkmates, interceptions, and hit them on the break to really end their game of football. So, when you look at Phil Foden, he's really giving Rodri his flowers. And trust me, I know how important Rodri is for the side of Man City, and we've all gone ahead to really understand that he never really backs out. He's this guy who rarely gets injured, and the only time has gone ahead to obviously miss out on games is because he has gone ahead to be sent off. And Man City, by the way, are really affected a lot. On the 6 games went ahead to miss out. They lost 1, drew 3, and they lost 1. I think they drew 4, and they lost 1. So how many points were dropped? Those are 9 points. Trust me, they wouldn't have gone ahead to be in this discussion if at all they would have gone ahead to win those games. But all in all, you have to prepare your season in a view of the fact that if your best players are really out, then their understudies can come in through and really do the job. So for a manager like Pep Guardiola, that shouldn't be an excuse. And we've gone ahead to come up with a narrative that injuries are part of the game of football and every team is getting injuries. That means you have to be having 22 fully fit players. If one gets injured, then you need to get in the other. If at all the best 2 players that play in that position get injured, you know what to do. You need to be signing what we call multi-dimensional players. Like at Man City, Rodri is a multi-dimensional player. He can play in the central defense. He can play in the central midfield. Phil Foden can play as a right forward. He can play as a left forward. He can even play as a half number 9. He can play as a central attacking midfielder. Close to 5 positions that young man really does play in Man City. When you look at the likes of Nathan Ake, he can play on the left back, left side of the central defense, invert a little bit in the midfield. We now look at Julian Alves. He can play across the front 3 of the attack, and even he can play as a central attacking midfielder all behind a number 9. That is the bit of really having the multi-dimensional players. So when you look at Arsenal, they're really having many of those. Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, there is Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, Julian Timber, and very many others. Jakub Kiwior, multi-dimensional players. You need them hugely into your game. But for Rodri, he's really making it happen day in, day out for the side of Man City, and he's really one of those players that we all believe he's one of the spines of Man City, and you need to give him credit for his consistency and what he's going to put up game in, game out, and season in, season out. Remember, he's the man who scored the goal that won them the Champions League, if at all you're really mistaken, and he comes out to score the most important goal of the day, the first goal, because the first goal sorry guys about that, but this guy is really very important, and he went ahead to score the most important goal of the game, because I've always told you the first goal is always the most important goal. Not so. It's always the most important goal. Let's obviously get to this other chapter of Rodri. Rodri has come out and spoken to TNT Sport after this game, and these were his words. We played amazing from the first minutes. In general, it was one of the best games of the season. We knew we have to have more players in the box. In the Arsenal game, we played quite open and didn't occupy the spaces, even though they played 6 at the back. The message at the beginning of the game was to score more goals. I know it's not only my role to score goals, but I know I can do better with goals and assists to be more vertical. It's what I've been focusing on the last few years. So he has been always wanting to add goals to his game, and finally he's really epitomizing it. He has never gone ahead to score 8 goals in a season, and this time around he has gone ahead to score 8 goals so far. And with very many games to go, they are into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. That is one more game to go. They knock out Chelsea. That tally goes to more 2 games. Add on the 8, the remaining to obviously clinch the 38 games of the Premier League. Those are 40. Add on the 2 left to play in the Champions League against Real Madrid. Those are 12 games left. That means he might really get himself to double figures or into double figures for the very first time as Rodri. So for me, I really understand that he's one of the best players in the world, and no doubt he is the best CDM in the world by far. That is it. Rodri for you. And he says when they're playing against Arsenal, they never committed a lot in the box. But I know why they never committed is because they need to eat that. If they commit a lot, they'll leave openings. And Arsenal is good at really capitalizing onto those openings. They would have gone ahead to leave to see to it that it really doesn't go their way. So that is Rodri for you. And he was like, they needed more goals today. And do you know why they need more goals? This trophy might really be clinched onto goal difference, and they're trying to obviously score more and more goals. That's why you saw to it that when they really scored 4, they felt like, all right, we are really closing down at Arsenal. Because for Arsenal, they've gone ahead to score very many goals in the recent games. Ever since this year really went ahead to start, they've gone ahead to pour in very many goals in the opponent's half. And when you look at Man City and the table and the goal difference, it really shows you how far off they are on Arsenal. Arsenal has 48 as the goal difference. Liverpool has 40 and Man City has 38, meaning that Arsenal has more 10 goals than them and they have 8 more than Liverpool. That means they need to continue scoring goals because the manager has always gone ahead to know it that it might be a goal difference tie. There might be a tie and these 3 teams might be having the same number of points, because you might find out that with 2 games to go, these teams are behind Arsenal by 3 points. Arsenal goes to Old Trafford, they lose, and they level up. And Arsenal is left to play Everton, and all these teams are really there, and they are all tied at the same points. And Arsenal is having a goal difference for like 5, and they're really having 1 game to play. So if it reaches that level, when it's all about goal difference, you really get to know that the goals you would have gone ahead to score in the past will have to come out and obviously help you win the trophy. And you wouldn't expect Arsenal also not to annihilate Everton on the final day of the season, because it would be like a do or die. So this manager is really wise, and he really fulfills this saying that it say the wise see ahead. And it looks like he has gone ahead to put on his eye lenses. They've gone ahead to predict to him that, I tell you what, the winner of the trophy this season might clinch it on goal difference. And that's why he's like, we need more and more and more goals to close down that goal difference of Arsenal. And what Arsenal is doing is also adding more and more and more, because today they've gone ahead to add 2 more onto the many they've been having. And what Arsenal is doing, they're keeping clean sheets. They're keeping clean sheets. That means the day they fall in a team and really hit it 5, they might find themselves really keeping a clean sheet in there for you. So Rodri also added that he went ahead to reciprocate the energy back to Phil Foden. Remember, I read you what Phil Foden said about Rodri. And now Rodri comes in through to say, Phil has grown every single year. He has become a more matured player. The other day, Arsenal, the other against Arsenal, he didn't score. Now he got 3. We've been struggling this season to face the teams at the top. It's the top level, so it's not easy. Scoring for against Villa is not easy, so credit to Phil Foden. We are there. We knew we had to do the work. We had to do the homework. We have to focus on the next game. Obviously, the next game is obviously the most important, and every player is as good as his previous 90 minutes. The minutes that Phil Foden played, like half an hour when he was playing really against Arsenal, were really very bad. Phil Foden looked ugly. I tell you, he looked ugly. He was pocketed by Benjamin White for all the minutes he spent on the field of play, until the manager said, all right, get off, you've been pocketed, and let me really get another player that can really get this job better and better and better. And it really looked nasty for him. But to show you the mentality, he has returned after having a very bad game against Arsenal. He has gone ahead to score a hat-trick. guys, he has scored a hat-trick, and it's not easy to obviously score a hat-trick against such teams, if at all you know, and how hard they are. These teams like Aston Villa, you know, they can do anything on the night, but they've come out and obviously faced Man City when they're a little bit weaker. You know, McGinn was having his suspension because he got a red card. They don't have Boba Kamara. I've not seen Oli Watkins in the mix. So they're really having some injuries that are going to hit to affect them. And me as a fan of Man United, I'm really excited. I know Arsenal fans are not happy with this result, but for me as a fan of Man United, I've gone ahead to really get excited because the two teams that are really 9 points, right, and 9 and 8 points ahead of me have gone ahead to obviously draw points. Spurs lost points yesterday, and Aston Villa is going ahead to be beaten today. So that means if I clinch a win away at Stamford Bridge, which is going to be hard, it might find me in a better position to obviously clinch or talk about or dream Champions League football again. And that will be the beauty of it. And we are continuing to obviously press more pressure onto these teams. And I know now they're left with Arsenal and Liverpool, both, meaning that they can drop other two games and drop 6 points in the mix. So I'm just excited to see that lots of things are really happening. And for Tottenham Hotspur, they are left with Man City also 3 games, and I believe they might lose all those 3 games. So that was how it happened. But Phil Foden takes it the day, according to me, and he put in a very huge shift into that game of football. But the other game of football that we have played today was between Brighton and Brentford. Brentford came in through and obviously put in a shift, but Brighton was all over them. Brighton murdered them, but the only thing Brighton failed to do is to really score the goals. Why have I gone ahead to obviously bring Brighton in the mix? Arsenal fans, your next game you're playing is against Brighton. Have you known about that? Have you known that? Your next game you're playing against Brentford, and these are the game stats. Brentford had 5 shots, Brighton had 24. 2 shots on target by Brentford, 6 shots on target by Brighton. 32% ball possession by Brentford, and Brighton had 68. 322 passes completed by Brentford, and Brighton completed times 2 the possession. They had 660. 77% passing accuracy by Brentford, 91% passing accuracy by Brighton. 9 fouls by Brentford, and 12 fouls by Brighton. Then 1 yellow card to Brentford and 1 yellow card to Brighton. No red cards issued to either sides. 3 offsides in there for you, and 0 offsides for the side of Brighton. 1 corner for Brentford and 5 corners for the side of Brighton. But this is all about Brighton wants to go and play into Europe. But when you look at how they're really playing, it's really not promising. They're having 43 points. Remember, the UEFA Conference League might see the 8th and the 9th team really qualify, because who won the Carabao Cup? It was Liverpool, and Liverpool cannot play into that. And I think the FA Cup is going to go either to Man United, Chelsea, or Man City, meaning that they might really get in another slot into the mix. So Brighton has been playing the UEFA Europa League, and I don't know how many teams are really going to be taking the UEFA Europa League, but I know 5 are going to be taking the Champions League. Now the 6th, 7th who will be really looking to obviously fight to go in the UEFA Europa League, and the 8th and 9th Conference League. So I think Brighton doesn't want to play in the Conference League. They want to go ahead and really play in the UEFA Europa League. So, but them being in Europe will be very important. I think they're really fighting for European places, but their fixtures are really still hard to really do. I'm going to show you their fixtures. They take on Arsenal over the weekend, a game that I believe is a given for Arsenal to obviously clinch their result. Now, for Brentford, they've gone ahead to play 31 games. They're having 28 points. And the relegation zone is having Luton Town, Burnley, and Sheffield. Now, Luton Town is having 22 points. So that means Brentford is 6 points off the relegation zone, and they're really having 7 games to go. How are they really going to behave in those remaining 7 games? Meaning that all they have to do is that they should find themselves clinch. If they can get 4 wins, or they can figure out 12 points from their remaining 24, I think those are 4 wins and 4 losses. They would have gone ahead, obviously, exonerated themselves and go up and really leave the relegation zone. I think some 2-3 wins will do them a favor, but I don't know whether they can really help themselves and really get going. So that's all about Brentford. But for Brighton, they're really having some huge fixtures coming in through. They are playing Arsenal over the weekend. Then they're going to be hosted by Burnley. Then they have to play Chelsea, Man City. They have to play Bournemouth, Aston Villa. They have to play Newcastle, and they have to play Man United. They're really having some tough fixtures, but I understand they can really make a very huge turnaround in the nick of time that is going to have to be provided to them. So guys, that's what I had for you today. I think you're going to have to enjoy this live video, and people are going to have to vote in for one player known as Rodri as the man of the match into the mix. Deshkali, sir, thank you for watching through my brother. It's always nice having you on this channel. He's my brother from another mother. And if at all you know, you can as well go and subscribe to his channel. If at all you're so much into entertainment, Deshkali's Alive is really one of those that you need to obviously go at and really represent in there for you. So thank you guys for watching through. You've got to hit to vote Rodri as the man of the match, but for me, I believe it's none other than Phil Foden who was going to hit to really clinch this. I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. May the living to God bless you abundantly. Rokan David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later. And the Muslims, Ramadan Kareem. Desh told me that Eid is next week, and we just can't wait to see that Eid coming to pass.